y'all hear me? I'm doing this off the cuff right now.
Okay. While I'm here, everybody's audio's good. You're
Hello,
good.
hello,
Yes. All right. All right.
everyone,
I'll just keep talking.
everyone.
All right, Tyler, you wanna look at somebody bought a keyboard just like mine.
I love these things. These are so
Damn,
comfortable.
it's hot.
They are, man.
How you been?
Pretty good, brother.
Yeah,
Not too.
can't
Yeah.
complain. Yeah.
It's funny. We
Trying to
got
fix
a
my
we
area.
got
Hold on one second.
Arizona state of our station now.
Oh, do you?
Yes, we do.
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
We are
man.
waiting
Gotta love the
for
rain there.
Yeah, man.
Alex Murdaugh,
You know they're gonna
attorney.
Getting
They are
ready to get to the Super
saying
Bowl. So
I
that
understand this.
yeah,
some
It's crazy how many
shisty
different people I don't
yeah.
know.
She's on the east side.
things
Okay.
Yeah, but
is going on.
Yeah.
yeah, cause he's
Well,
hilarious.
Yeah,
He's
he's great.
hilarious. Yeah, man, some great
if
music.
that
Man.
is true,
He actually did
my
good work
name
on our station.
is
Oh, really?
Abraham
Yeah, yeah.
Lincoln.
She used to be a reporter at the station too.
He would come back and get so many questions,
Yeah.
and he was just like so real.
Hmm.
He was never trying to BS anything.
Exactly.
He'd just be
What
like,
is my
this is
damn?
what's up.
And that's how he was as a sports reporter here.
Bear with
Yep.
me, y'all.
Yep. All right,
Your mind is blown, I know.
Thomas, your audio's good. Oh, okay. Well, you'll do.
The only thing about
All right, please hold on. Please just
lives
don't do that during the actual speech.
is sometimes they're a little lower. I hope it's not right now.
All
The
right.
jury has signed affidavits that the court clerk swayed them. I don't. Holy shit! If that is true, OMG! I hope we're wrong. I hope we're wrong. The judge has spoken out in the interviews about the case and can't sit on the bench with this case again. No, he was retiring anyways. So there's that. I mean, I think Alec Murdaugh is guilty as sin personally, but yes, but she was writing a book anyway. So you know what this means? Like if if there is corruption, she can go to prison for a long time. A long time. Yeah, he has to retire due to age. When you become like, if you're a surgeon, you have to stop surgery at a certain age. If you're a judge, you got to stop at a certain age. Fly, if you're a pilot, good old boys network at it again. Well, the thing is, if this is true, if this is true, um, what does that say about how many they have arrested and it's been swayed? You know what I mean? I mean, just like Fred Hill, guys. Fred Hill, and I'm not taking up for him. He sold DRUGS, but they don't have the audio or the video on there. If he would talk to his attorney right now and say, why are you holding me in jail? You can't even show your evidence. And they brought change back with the hug deal, and it wasn't even the right amount of change. It's craziness. Oh my God, is it hot where y'all are at today? Jesus Lord. God. Sweating. Okay, they're switching it over. Live view receiver. Alex will get off, you think? So what they're doing now, they're all running from the same feed, the live view feed, and they will get that fixed momentarily. Momentarily. Yeah, I can look at Law and Order. Hold on 1 second. Law and crime.
Guns, they will never be seen again. Chris, are you in complete shock like I am? It's almost impossible to believe it, except you have these affidavits coming from
Mr.
multiple jurors that are all essentially corroborating this.
If the allegations
Oh,
are
honey, my
true,
cash app.
it is outrageous conduct that should require a new trial. This kind of stuff just can't be allowed in courts, big trials or small trials. And we know that there's some informality in some smaller
Can y'all hear
courthouses,
her?
or maybe informality
Yeah.
in some chambers. But this is so far beyond that. This is a clerk of court. If these allegations are true, it's a clerk of court coaching the jurors to return a guilty verdict, which we just can't allow that.
Yeah. Wow. I got to tell you, Chris, I was saying before, I think the prosecutors are devastated by this. When I've had any kind of issues with juror involvement, which don't even approach anything like this, you have a voir dire.
Here, why don't you? Right here. Wait a minute, where are they facing?
All right, here we go.
So like this? Okay. That good? All right. Okay, so. Push the button in your jacket. Yeah, button. Yeah, button. What? Push the button in your jacket. Yes. So I'm going to read a statement.
There's Dick.
Jim Griffin will have a couple words to say, and then we'll answer questions. Today, Jim Griffin and I filed a petition based on newly discovered evidence with the South Carolina Court of Appeals to stay Alec Murdaugh's appeal while a hearing is held on a motion for a new trial. Concurrently, we've sent a request to the South Carolina U.S. Attorney to open a federal investigation into the violation of Alec Murdaugh's civil rights. The allegations in the petition filed today speak for themselves, but we believe they explain a number of peculiarities in the 6-week trial. We request that SWED stand down on initiating any investigation of these allegations, since they are heavily invested in maintaining Alex's convictions. We suggest they wait for the Court of Appeals to rule and receive direction from the trial court. If the Court of Appeals remands the case for an evidentiary hearing, if the Court of Appeals remands the case for an evidentiary hearing, we would also request that those in the media and the public respect the privacy of those included in this filing. Jim and I want to thank those on our team who stand behind us and have worked tirelessly to ferret out the truth. Alex Murdaugh maintained and still maintains his innocence in the murder of Maggie and Paul, and believes the truth will ultimately prevail. Jim?
The right to a jury trial, the right to a jury trial is a fundamental principle of our justice system. Jurors must be free from outside influences and must decide the case solely on the evidence presented in the courtroom, subject to the rules of evidence, subject to the rules of the court, and, most importantly, subject to the crucible of cross-examination that's guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution, and that is the right to confront witnesses. When jurors receive private communications outside the confines of a public courtroom, the Sixth Amendment is violated, and numerous other constitutional rights are violated. And that's not Jim Griffin on the law. That is the law of the land. And I want to quote from a decision from the South Carolina Court of Appeals, which is behind me, and states this: where there is a private communication of a court official to members of the jury, an occurrence which cannot be tolerated if the sanctity of the jury system is to be maintained, a new trial must be granted unless it clearly appears that the subject matter of the communication was harmless and could not have affected the verdict. What we had filed today, supported by sworn testimony of jurors, is that the clerk of court had improper private communications with the jurors, and the subject matter of those communications was the credibility of the defense that the Murdaugh legal defense team put up, and it was the believability of the defendant's own testimony. Now, there's been a lot of talked about whether Alex should have taken the stand. I can assure you, when we considered what factors we should and should not do and considered whether he should take the stand, we never considered the likelihood, as reported to us by the jurors, that the clerk of court would go in to the sanctity of the jury room before he testified and tell the jurors, don't be fooled by his testimony, watch out for his body language. And that is what the sworn testimony that we have filed in court today says. And if that is true, which we have every reason to believe that it is, and no reason to believe that it's not, there's no choice but the courts to grant a new trial.
Thank you. Any questions? No?
No, wow.
Okay.
When the fourth person was pulled away at Moselle, did you guys see that, or did you find out after the fact?
Well, I think we observed it. We
You
did.
weren't
No, I was there.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I was there. I watched it. But I mean, look, we were not looking to impute any nefarious conduct. But clearly, what the jurors reported to us, that they were off talking, the forelady and the clerk. I saw them together, but I wasn't watching. I believe. Look, I've been doing this almost 50 years. The bedrock of any trial, and I've done hundreds of them, is that the clerk of court is the person that makes sure the jury gets their food. If they're put up for the night, someplace to stay, their travel accommodations are met. They're not someone that ever should talk to them about the case. I've never had it happen. Again, I've been doing this for a very long time. Never heard of it happening until this case.
And one thing we want everyone to understand, that the clerk of court is an elected official by the people, not appointed by the judge, not appointed by the judiciary. It's a public official who's elected and is an independent state actor. And so what we're complaining about in the motion that we filed today is the conduct of an elected official, not conduct by Judge Newman or anybody in the unified court system.
And I think it's important also to understand that she is a state actor, and that's why we forwarded today a letter to the U.S. Attorney asking them to open an investigation into the violation of Alec Murdaugh's civil rights by a state actor under color of state law.
I believe you guys had 4 jurors that you had affidavits for in the paperwork you filed. Did they reach out to you, or did you guys reach out to them?
Well, this is an interesting story. Let Jim tell you.
So immediately in the aftermath of the verdict, we had received information that we needed to look into what happened in the jury room. We started down that road, and we met a zone of silence. No jurors would speak to us. And so we were, what I like to call, we were given the Heisman, right? And then when the clerk of court wrote her book, published her book, that zone of silence collapsed. And jurors were upset about that, the ones we talked with, and they were more than willing to come forward and tell us the things that we had sort of heard through a whisper campaign. But, and so as a result of that, we were able to interview some jurors. Now, there's still a number of jurors who maintain that zone of silence, who have not talked to us. We did try to reach out to most all of them that we could get in touch with, but the information we got, I can tell you, was independent of each juror. The first juror we talked to we got information about Ms. Hill saying, "Don't be fooled." And then the second juror, independent of the first juror, says the same thing, and the third juror, independent of the other two, say the same thing. And so we're very confident that the information is accurate.
Well,
Expectation timeline.
what
When a ruling will be, how fast do you want it?
ask them. I mean, we don't have any control over that. We just did receive a notice from the Court of Appeals that the Attorney General has 10 days to respond to our motion. Okay? Now, I think what's interesting to me, again, having done this for so long, is that once we had that initial contact with that first juror, we began going around. We had a list and knocking on, literally on Sundays, knocking on jurors' doors, asking them to speak with us. Some of them wouldn't come out. Some of us told us never to come back. But some did, and some talked to us. I'll give you an example. And one of the things we heard was, once the jury went out, even though there were 6 smokers and they were given smoke breaks during the entire trial, once the jury went out, they were told no more smoke breaks. No, you people that want nicotine, you're going to have to get a verdict first. I mean, it's that kind of stuff. Now that indicates something, and the court would be the one to communicate that. Why? So a bunch of folks told us stuff that appeared to be inconsequential, but in the total context indicated to us that what we've put in this petition about the court is credible, and based on sworn testimony from 2 jurors, and we interviewed a third. My paralegal, Holly Miller, has given you an affidavit, or filed an affidavit on what she told us. A lot of these folks just don't want to get involved, but they're going to be involved if we get a hearing, because each and every one of them is going to have to testify in an open court before you as to what happened and what didn't happen. Wait, one at a time. Who?
It would appear that Judge Newman was at least aware of some of the allegations that you talk about in your motion. For example, the Facebook post with juror 785, and the judge actually said, "Oh boy, I'm not too pleased about the clerk interrogating a juror as opposed to coming to me and happening it to me."
And that's a good point. There's no suggestion that the judge did anything untoward. But what that does do, if it comes back, he may end up being a witness. So, I mean, but until the Court of Appeals acts, that issue does not have to be dealt with.
But if the fact is that the court was aware of some of these issues but still didn't intervene, how concerned are you?
We don't know. We don't know that he didn't intervene. That's why I'm saying he's a witness. We need to know.
That this evidence is strong enough such that it could have changed the verdict had it been introduced in trial.
You know, that's not the legal test. The legal test is the subject matter prejudicial to the defense. It's not would it have made a difference in the outcome. Was the subject matter of the improper private conversation material to the defense? If it's immaterial, like what do you want to have for dinner? Do you want to take a smoke break? Do you want to go home? Those are immaterial matters. But when the subject matter is, and is reported under oath by these jurors, it was a direction on how you should receive Alec Murdaugh's testimony. You should look at him. Don't be fooled by him. That subject matter is absolutely material. That's the core of our defense, and that is something that we had no chance to defend against. And so we strongly believe if that evidence is accurate, and the law will require a new trial.
If this is all true, do you think the clerk should be criminally charged?
When was the last time
No
you spoke
comment.
with your client, and what has he shared with you with this latest motion?
Well, I can't talk about attorney-client privilege information. I can tell you that when I shared with him the affidavits, he's a lawyer. He was astonished. He was shaking. He was in disbelief, and he thanked Mr. Harpootlian, Mr. Barber, and myself for spending our weekends on dirt roads in Colleton County.
And by the way, we've seen more of Colleton County on dirt roads in places we're city boys, we didn't believe existed in this state, looking for folks that would talk to us. A lot of doors slammed in our face. A lot of doors slammed in our faces.
Do you think Ms. Hill should still have her job?
I'm sorry?
Do you think Ms. Hill should still have her job?
No comment. I'm sorry, what?
The Facebook posting from the ex-husband of the dismissed juror. There's a lot of detail in there about that. And there's some in-camera transcripts there as well. Was this not something that you handled very quickly? The fact that you guys are alleging it didn't exist at all and perhaps was conspired to be created to get this juror
Yes.
I mean, that's a very serious allegation.
It's all serious. Everything we've alleged, everything in those affidavits is serious. This is a very serious matter. And again,
So what you see in the sworn testimony that's been filed today is Ms. Hill told the court that there was a Facebook post by this juror's ex-husband. The ex-husband has filed an affidavit saying, "I've never posted a Facebook post." Ms. Hill in her office says he must have deleted it. We can't find it. But they produced a Facebook post from someone with the same name apologizing for an earlier Facebook post and that Satan made him do it and et cetera, et cetera. And Ms. Hill related that as being this juror's ex-husband. Ms. Hill had this juror's ex-husband's photograph. You can match them up. They don't match. And what we do know, and we laid it out in detail in our brief, is that the apology Facebook post was posted, I think, on February 16th, and said we had deleted it the day before, February 15th. Ms. Hill is telling Judge Newman on February 23rd that I just saw this Facebook post. Impossible. Impossible. We also have in there sworn testimony that Ms. Hill told this juror that SLED went out and confirmed with your ex-husband that he posted that. Not true, according to the sworn testimony.
And Phil Barber and I and Howie Miller from my office went down and interviewed the ex-husband, and he allowed us to, I wouldn't know how to do it, but Phil did, to download his entire Facebook history. None of that is in there. So, I mean, again, we've done what we can do. We're not the police. You know, we have no way to compel anybody to talk to us or give us anything. We've asked very nicely. Now, I will say this. The two jurors that gave affidavits have an attorney, Joe McCullough, who was skulking around here a moment ago back there. So if you want to know about those two jurors, you may want to have a chat with him.
What's the motivation of the jurors talking to you?
Wait, what?
What's the motivation, do you think, of the jurors talking to you? Are they upset with the clerk?
I think they were upset with the way things went, and the clerk, I think they may very well, yes, they're upset with the clerk. They're upset with the way this played out.
Are they regretting their vote?
Can't comment on that.
The Facebook post, the person who posted the original post, have you ever gotten an opportunity to speak with them, and if so, what was it?
No. No. I mean, the original post, we don't know whether it existed.
But the apology post, did you speak with him, Phil?
No. No, we did not speak.
Do you have a timeline from the FBI regarding your request for a new investigation?
Well, as you know, having talked to the FBI before, no. They're not going to tell us anything.
In your letter to the U.S. Attorney, you mentioned the importance of having the FBI investigate as opposed to SLED, for example. Can you talk about the importance of having the FBI get involved?
Well, having anybody but SLED investigate it. SLED is very invested in this conviction. How invested? Well, the agent, David Owens, that testified under cross-examination by Jim, admitted two things. One, he perjured himself in front of the grand jury. And two, he fabricated evidence. SLED made him this year's Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. So is that the agency that ought to be going to jurors? I don't think so. I think that the court, if this is remanded back, the trial court should pick somebody else. If the FBI is not doing it, then there's the sheriff's departments, there are other folk, not Colleton County, but other sheriff's departments that could go out and interview jurors or bring them to court. I mean, all these jurors are going to end up testifying anyway. There may not be any reason to go out and interview them. They may just put a subpoena on them and bring them to court.
How important is it for y'all to get these jurors to testify under oath in a place where, like you say, through the zone of silence when they have the police talking out the floor?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that would happen if we get the hearing that we've requested. That's why we've requested the hearing, so that we can get subpoena power, and we can get some subpoena, not just individuals come to court, jurors come to court, witnesses come to court, but subpoena records, phone records, for example, emails, for example. I mean, so with a hearing, we have a broad array of assets at our disposal to bring evidence to court. Right now, we've got nothing except Dick's Mercedes and dirt roads in Colleton County.
Have you spoken to any jurors who refute what the other jurors are saying?
No, we've not had any juror contradict anything what the other jurors are saying. Jen, what you saw in some of the affidavits is the jurors were separated in two rooms, and sort of broke up from, you know, guys in one room, gals in another room. I don't know if that was appropriate. Men in one room, females in another room, and so the comments that we've gotten on the sworn affidavits come from the ladies' room, if you will, more so than the men's room. But we do have information that we submitted from one juror where he does acknowledge that she talked to him about evidence, about autopsy photos, and don't be upset about them. I mean, that should not be happening. That should not be happening. And this juror is a smoker, and he relayed to us basically the coercive effect of people who have a nicotine habit not able to smoke
until they reach a verdict.
Until they reach a verdict, and so that's what we got.
Wait a second. Yeah.
I have an issue with the cable at the very. Could you read that? There is an initial motion real fast. You have an issue with
Do what now?
The motion you read. Can you read that? The very first thing. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'll read it for you after we get done with this, but I don't think I ought to keep all these folks doing that.
Would you request a change of venue?
Well, you got to get a new trial before you get there, and that's not something we're going to talk about today. And yes, ma'am.
The activities that the jurors have given the affidavits for, was that behavior that you believe Ms. Hill was exhibiting to all 12 at one time?
We don't.
Or were they singled out or segregated?
Well, we know some of the statements were made in front of the jurors in the one jury room. Now, understand I think there were only 6 jurors in that room, or maybe 8. I'm not sure, but not all the jurors would have been present for all the statements. Clearly, they were given in one room or the other.
And just to be clear, the catalyst for reinvestigating this was the publication of Ms. Hill's book?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So we didn't stop investigating, but we were hitting brick walls until her book came out, and then jurors who obviously were not comfortable with how she handled matters were even less comfortable with her going on a book tour and making money off what she did. That's what was reported to us.
Now, she has said her book is self-published. That really doesn't sound like somebody who's getting a lot of money. What do you say to that if somebody says, well, she's just self-published?
Well, she's trying to make a lot of money. That's the point. I mean, she's trying to make money off of it. She's selling the book. I mean, the question is, was it a successful scheme? I don't know. I mean, if you've read it, I'm not going to give a book review here, but I don't know that you buy the book. I mean, it's not well written. The story she tells is not accurate, in our opinion, at least the facts as we saw them.
What did you think about the passage of her book that describes going to Moselle with the jurors?
Well, the problem I have with what she says in there is, after going to Moselle, we, if you notice, she used the plural we, felt such and such and such and such. Is that the jurors and her? I mean, I think that's great cross-examination for her when she testifies in this matter before the trial judge, if the Court of Appeals sends it back.
Do you want any hearing in this matter to be public?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want all y'all there. We miss you. Any other questions?
Yeah, you said you're investigating. So along your investigations into the alleged jury misconduct and these allegations, have you uncovered any additional things that you would present in a second trial for your defense?
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, no. If we are lucky enough to get a second trial, you have to wait and see. We're not going to disclose any of that today.
What is your optimism for getting for this motion?
I'm very optimistic that ultimately we will get a new trial. How long that'll take, I don't know.
Have you tried to reach Clerk Hill, ask her any questions about any of this?
We've not reached out to Clerk Hill. We had reached out to some other folks, and based on the information we received, we thought it would be pointless to reach out to her.
Do you have any alternate suspect or suspects?
What now?
Do you have any alternate suspects or suspects in the case?
We're focused on getting him a new trial. That's what we've been working on. Anything else? No? Thank you so much. Let me read this statement to him real quick. No shit.
All right, y'all. So there we have it. They got 10 days to I guess get approved for a new trial or not. I agree, Mary Jane. This is unbelievable. If this clerk did this, she's in a lot of trouble. I just cannot see someone taking that kind of risk in this kind of high profile case. Dang, man. That's craziness. Absolutely craziness. What are you gonna do? We'll just have to see. I mean, it's not a coincidence that bodies were piling up around Alec Murdaugh, his son, his wife. He was clearly there at the dog kennels when all of this happened. He lied. He's got so many other crimes. I mean, even like his financials, like, would still probably put him in jail for a long time. I don't know, but we're just going to have to see. Yes, his cleaning lady, his maid of like 20 years, she practically raised those boys. And this cost a lot of taxpayer money, to say the least. We got, Stephen Smith, the boating accident. Alec didn't do the boating accident, but I'm sure he has allegedly some hands in there. You know what I mean? Just a lot of bodies. She was gone as well. Yeah. It is extremely embarrassing. Very much so. You need too much, yeah. All right, guys. I'm actually in the carpool line picking up my children, and got to go home, get everything settled, do homework, make dinner, and all of that. And I'll be back later this evening about 5 or 6-ish. We'll be talking about Summer Wells case. So join us then. Everybody and their mother was streaming this right now. They want SLED thrown out and the FBI in. He wants a federal prison, not a local one. Neutral. Bingo. Bingo. Bingo, bad girl. I love you all. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Bye-bye.